So I got to give a little backstory here. If you're on our Patreon, we covered this sheriff's department recently. So Rankin County Sheriff Department are now known as the Goon Squad, which is a
horrible name.
Horrible, unfortunate name. Yes. But a couple years ago, 5 or 6 of these sheriff's deputies are in prison now for a long time because they were doing truly horrific things. Basically, Rankin County is an area of Mississippi that's been plagued with meth addiction. So it's a very poor area where a lot of people are buying and selling meth. This department was using the meth sales as basically an excuse to terrorize the population and torture them. And I mean that in a literal sense. They would take them, put them house them in the place, tie them up, and torture them to the point of like sexual abuse. So really dark and disturbing stuff. Finally, if
you want to find out more about that story, check out our older episode.
Yeah. I mean, that story was like from a couple years ago. Our story on our Patreon was sort of a deeper dive because now that these deputies are in prison, they are talking and we're learning more about what these motherfuckers have been up to for the past decade. So that was what our Patreon episode was about, was like more of like how not only has this shit been going on for years and years and years, but how the federal government, the DOJ, and all these agencies are absolutely failing to fix some of these problems. Like all these people they sent to jail, like these psychos sent to jail, should have their cases looked at, but no one is looking at them. Now, the sheriff, now 5-6 deputies are in prison. The sheriff, the guy in charge of all of this, he is still in power. And people in Mississippi are like obviously begging him to resign, but he hasn't stepped down. I guess, his argument is like, well, I never got caught torturing nobody. It was just the employees who worked directly under me who were rampantly going around terrorizing y'all. So I don't see what blame I could do other than creating the entire culture of torture and terror in the first place. But what, is that a crime now, creating culture?
Even if he didn't know, like the argument to be like, you didn't know all this shit was happening under you? What? You're fired.
Exactly.
You should be what? That's like
what's one thing you're not even, no one's asking you to even go to jail. Like they're just asking you to fucking resign, get another job. Like you won't even do that.
If you're fucking working at a Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're the manager of a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then you find out, yeah, did you know all your employees have been frying the chicken in the back of the toilet seat?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, I didn't fry no chicken in the back of the toilet seat, so why should I lose? But nigga, you're responsible for the people's frying chicken in the toilet.
Exactly. Perfect analogy.
Exactly. That's my metaphor.
It makes sense.
Contribute to the conversation. Continue, John.
It was a great metaphor. But we now got a news story breaking that is specifically about this sheriff, and it is absurd. So let's start reading from Mississippi Today. Brian Bailey, the Mississippi sheriff whose department has been under federal investigation for torturing people, staffed his mother's commercial chicken farm with inmates from the county jail and used taxpayer-purchased equipment to improve the grounds, according to 4 former inmates and a former deputy who said they had worked on the farm. So there's the whole premise of this. Pretty insane. So they said inmates with special privileges, known as trustees, were repeatedly driven to the farm south of Puckett, sometimes by Sheriff Bailey himself, to perform various tasks on top of their daily work duties for Rankin County. Former trustees and others who worked on Sheriff Bailey's family farm said inmates had received cash or meals in exchange for the work. In a series of interviews conducted over phone and email, because the guy's in prison, Deputy Christian Dedman described how he had transported inmates from the Rankin County Pretrial Detention Trustee Work Program to the farm and worked alongside them. At the sheriff's request, Dedman said, he and others secretly took gravel from a Rankin County government storage yard at night and delivered it to the farm. So, yeah, I just love how this deputy is in prison for torturing people and is now like, there's a lot of other stuff going on, too, if you want to hear about it.
We had slave labor.
Yeah.
Literal
We were also doing slavery.
You think that's bad?
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
So, yeah, routinely going to Rankin County government storage and stealing gravel and delivering it to the farm. So I love that they're like, okay, we need to commit a heist here. Who do we know that could possibly be good at committing crimes? Oh, yeah, all the people we fucking threw in jail after we tortured them. Hey, you want to come out here and help us steal from the city?
Yeah, that is a good way to, if you are, you do have a good resume. That's like,
Exactly.
You can just go look up who got the longest. It's like, we're putting together a team, and they just hire a suicide squad. That's
Yeah.
Well, I need a list of criminals. I mean, it makes sense, but
yeah.
damn,
One guy's like, actually, I was innocent. I actually did. Well, you know what? You fit the bill. You go ahead and go. You're a criminal to us. You always will be. So you go ahead and join our forces. Join forces.
I'm just fucked up over farm. This is all farm shit.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's all going, and like I didn't mention it. Like I didn't include this part in these excerpts, but the farm was supplying Tyson chicken.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my! I was about to root for. Like, I was like, man, sometimes small farms they already got everything going against them. These big farms are already subsidizing all the wealth. Farmers got everything going against them. Oh damn! It was Big Tyson.
It was Tyson.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well,
so if you're eating those frozen chicken nuggets, they came with a dark price.
Oh my God! Why does Tyson chicken need like?
Yeah. Tyson chicken is on the news so often for like being like a chicken nugget, Their factories are like horrors are happening in the factories, horrors are happening on the farms. Like, goddamn, just want some chicken nuggets at night.
Their chicken's legs they be breaking because they're so fat. They're like they're chicken. They literally give birth to paraplegic chickens.
All right. So let's go back. We got a lot to read on this article. So yeah, so far where we're at is the sheriff using, as Ashton put it, slave labor of the inmates they rounded up after torturing them to run his family's chicken farm and steal gravel from the city. Dedman said the sheriff had instructed him to use a construction vehicle bought by the department in 2019 for $97,000. Again, this is taxpayer money to till soil for corn and clear wooded areas on the farm. The vehicle, called a skid steer by those who used it, was sometimes stored there, he said. I looked it up. A skid steer is basically like, it's like not a dump truck where the big dump truck areas on the back, but like the one that looks like a snow plow, it has a thing on the front that's used to like pick up shit, get shit out of the way. They bought one of those, the police department did. Dedman said workers on the farm also used other items that had been purchased by the department, including weed killer, attachments for the skid steer, and power tools. County financial records show that since 2018, the sheriff's department has purchased skid steer attachments worth more than $50,000 and more than 600 gallons of weed killer worth about $10,000. The records also show that in 2022 and 23, the department spent hundreds of dollars on heat lamps and other supplies designed to care for poultry.
Damn, so he's using the department's budget to just buy because
farm equipment.
But they also said he was stealing farm equipment.
They were stealing gravel.
Okay.
There's like some sort of like city property where they store gravel for you need gravel to build roads and stuff. I'm imagining reading this like, oh yeah, I guess cities do need a storage of gravel to operate, and they're going in at night and robbing. Using inmates to steal the gravel from the city to lay down at this farm, and using prison labor to work the farm. And here, department budget is going towards buying farm equipment, and then I don't even know how they justify. They're like, no, we need this to fight the crime. Trust us. We're using the weed killer to waterboard our suspects. Trust us.
Listen, we lull them in with this cute little garden, and that's when we get them. We strike.
Yeah.
All right. What the
Don't
fuck?
worry. What's the Rankin County Police Department? We are using this to torture people. We that's our guarantee to y'all.
Nah, damn. That's what they don't tell you, kids. Them pigs on old McDonald's farm. cops. As they leave out of those stores.
That's what they do. Nearly all the former inmates interviewed by Mississippi Today praised the trustee program, saying it had helped them beat addiction and build skills for life after release. Several former trustees said they had no complaints about the work they did, including their work at the farm. But other former trustees said that they had felt an intense pressure to do whatever was asked of them without complaint because of the power Sheriff Bailey wielded over them. Rankin County's trustee program enables defendants to serve time in the county jail instead of going to state prison. To become a trustee, some inmates signed documents agreeing to accept the maximum sentence for their crimes if they were, quote, removed from the program for any reason. So they really kind of sign a contract in blood there. Like, if you get removed for any reason, you're going to go ahead and do maximum possible time in, like, you know, real prison. So
if you aren't working on the farm, if
you just get removed for any reason, and the people who, and I'm about to get there in a second, the people who remove them are the people in charge of them. But I do want to quickly comment on, like, the first part of that paragraph. You know, it says that the trustees, the inmates, they enjoyed working, and of course they did. You know, it reminds me of, like, Hassan Piker. He went and interviewed the inmates who were putting out the California wildfires, who similarly were like, you know, Hassan coming from, like, a leftist perspective, you know, he's like, this is wrong. This is essentially slave labor. It's wrong. But the inmates, similar to here, were like, well, we enjoy this. And the reason why they enjoy it is obvious. They're human beings. Anyone would rather work and feel like they accomplished something with their day than be confined to a box and be held like an animal.
So it's either I, develop this green thumb or I start a race war in the yard.
Exactly.
And, I think I'll just stick with the thumb.
Exactly. So because the inmates would prefer to work than living in literal hell, doesn't give a green light of morality of, like, what this whole thing is. It's still, like, essentially slave labor. And beyond that, we'll just keep reading. Trustees entered the program at Sheriff Bailey's recommendation, and department officials decided if and when trustees had violated the terms of their agreements. According to Andy Sumrall, a Jackson-based criminal defense attorney who has represented a number of former trustees. The way the sheriff's trustee program is, you're his property, one former trustee said. Again, we've come up with a word for this. We'll just keep going. Dedman is the former deputy, said he would sneak onto county property at night, sometimes with Sheriff Bailey, to take the gravel. Quote, I can't tell you how many loads of county gravel I've hauled down there on the weekends or at night with this dump trailer or rode with him to do so, Desmond said. According to Dedman, the sheriff had magnets made to conceal the sheriff's star on the department vehicle Dedman used to pick up the gravel. The magnets, Dedman said, were marked with the name of a non-existent business derived from the name of a former trustee, Cazles Welding. That's the fake business they made. And the custom stickers they put over their sheriff decals to disguise themselves.
Jesus Christ, this is a full-blown
heist
with real criminals. That's insane. Over farm equipment. This shit is country as hell.
Yeah. This last part honestly seems kind of fun. Like making your own little custom logo.
Art department. We're gonna need like a cute little logo for the for that.
My niece actually is part of just joined the graphic design program at her community college down the road over there. I think we could get her involved. She's a nice girl.
A lot of people hone in too much on the violence aspect of the criminality. I like to hone in on the creative part.
Sure, the murder and violence, that's trauma that I'll probably never quite come to terms with, but other parts of it are very creatively fulfilling. The skid steer the little, whatever, the giant construction vehicle that Deadman described using on the farm was purchased by the Department for Search and Rescue teams with money seized during drug raids, county documents show. County records show that in April 2019, the Sheriff's Department used $36,000 seized from drug busts to buy a mulching head. Deadman said Sheriff Bailey had used it to clear land on the farm. So, okay, they got kind of like a little self-sustaining economy over here. I mentioned earlier they're using taxpayer money to do this. Apparently, actually, they're not. They're using money stolen from meth labs to fund their little chicken project they got going on.
That's hilarious. That's great. That's fucking. What if we need more people? We would never got Death Row.
Yeah.
All the famous rap record labels that started with drug money. What if niggas was like, I'm taking this drug money and we gonna start a new record label, new Migos?
Exactly.
Nah, nigga, we doing farms.
Exactly.
I was thinking about buying my own fucking farm, get a few cows and shit, nigga.
Yeah.
Turn some shit up, nigga. That's crazy.
There's a way, like, on paper.
Use drug money for
exactly. There's a way, like, on paper where you could frame this where it sounds like a really nice, like, urban program. It's like, we're taking the drug money and all that, and we're putting it to farming, urban farming.
A community garden.
But it is not that at all.
This money will go from serving the community to serving the community.
Damn, you're good. All right, where the fuck are we? That's where I ended it as far as reading from this article goes. So, I mean, as insane as this story is, I want everyone listening like to place this where it belongs in the broader picture of Rankin County, of this area in Mississippi where the sheriff's department was running rampant, terrorizing its poor communities, dragging them inside their own homes, tying them up, spending hours beating them up, literally using sex toys and stuff as part of their torture, stealing their drug money, and using it to supply the sheriff's farm. And these same deputies who dragged you to jail are now like, hey, you want to work? You want to earn a nice meal by spending all day planting or whatever they're doing, building chicken coops and doing gravel heists, because we are going to be stealing from the city. We got a self-sustaining economy over here of theft and drugs and violence, all going to Tyson chicken for college students to eat late at night when they get home drunk.
The benign nature of what all this crime is going to is what's so fucking hilarious about it. It's going to a farm. It's like you're doing all this crime, you're espionage and fucking stealing for my crocheting business. It's for something so
exactly. For kind of a beautiful, he's probably like, this chicken farm is really the one place I feel happy. During my days, I'm really haunted day and night from some of the really terrible things I've done to human beings on this earth. But when I look at this beautiful chicken farm, this beautiful plot of land, I really forget about the crimes I've committed. Now get back to work, motherfucker! I tell you, you do it. He's thinking that as he's putting on his cartoon bandit bandana around his eyes to go steal gravel from the city. And this sheriff is still in office, by the way.
Okay, I was gonna ask, this is such a. I do think eventually this guy's gonna be out of office, probably.
Hopefully, goddamn,
they got everybody under him. They probably go get him.
Yeah,
which I think
that's how it goes.
The next few officers to work at this department are about to get away with some shit. Because they could be like, all right, I shot the nigga, but at least I didn't have a slave or anything. Excuse me. Sorry, this is new management. We won't be doing slave labor. We still will be shooting niggas. So
Yeah. Or
back to regular business as
the,
usual.
the more accurate version of it is that, yes, we will use slave labor because that's how prisons work. They do have slave labor, but it's not going to go to this motherfucker's chicken farm because that's extra wrong. It's a little too far to what we're used to with as far as prison slave labor goes.